I'm author Mark D. Deal, and this is from a recent event presented by Sherman's Books.
Mark's going to talk a little bit about why he chose to release the book the way he did. I'm going to do some readings from Vita Nocturna, and we're going to open it up for questions if anyone has any questions. So without further ado, Mark Deal.
Thank you all for coming. I wrote this book in a graduate program at the University of Chicago, and we had publishers and agents and people from the industry coming in to talk to us about publishing and what it was to be published and how you got your book published. And one thing that became perfectly obvious to me is that getting published had nothing to do with writing a good book. It had to do with being not just profitable, but predictably profitable. That is, in the corporate publishing world, the more certain the corporation is that it will make a profit, the more likely you are to get published. What's the most predictable book? Well, it's one that the story already has a proven track record of sales. When I was writing Vita Nocturna, for example, the publishers were all trying to find yet another series about vampires in love. It's a completely market-driven idea, by the way, vampires in love. Vampires sell. Romance is half of the fiction market. It sells. You put them together, you have vampires in love. That's a predictable product. That's a predictable profit that the companies can go to their shareholders and say, we put a safe bet on this one. And they'd run off a bunch of copies and they'd distribute them all over and hope that somebody pulled them off the shelf and bought them. But what was happening, and what I saw among a crowd of really talented writers at a really good school, was that writers were getting this pressure to chase the market. When that happens in an artistic discipline, nothing new can get in. The ideas are shut out. It becomes a death spiral of creativity. So this book was my experiment to see how far I could stretch the ideas of vampires in love and make something new. For example, did it have to be real love? Did the vampires have to be supernatural? Because I've known real vampires. They're real, you know. They're just not supernatural. Vampires are creatures with an insatiable need to fill up that space where their souls used to be. And I've known a few people who lost their souls. In fact, this book is largely based on the life of a good friend of mine who disappeared about 12 years ago. In Vita Nocturna, Sarah, a college freshman crippled by social phobia, fantasizes her new boyfriend is a vampire, but discovers he's a cocaine addict.